accept my humble obeisance.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Mataji, Ashwariya, Lila, Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances as well.
All glories to Prabhupada.
Okay, so we are reading the Srimad Bhagavatam. We are on Canto 3, Chapter 7. The text for today is text 41 and 42. But we can start with the Mangalacharan. Do I have any? Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody can do it?
Yes, yes. Would you like to do Chandni Mataji the Mangalacharan, or I'm happy to do it?
Yes, I can do it.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guruh Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Tan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandha Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye. वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shani. That was wonderful. Thank you for saying it so clearly. So I'll just start with some initial prayers. First of all, I'd like to thank for allowing me to be on this platform. It's just an amazing group. So actually, a lot of these groups start and then end, and somehow, because of the consistency of Kirtika Mataji and other devotees, this group is still going on and it's going strong. So, and thank you very much, everyone, for being here and whoever is going to join later. I'm not qualified at all to speak. I don't feel qualified, but somehow it's a service that's given. I always like how Amarendra Prabhu starts, let the right words come at the right time, in the right way, in the right, and forgive my offenses if I say something incorrect. So I'll start with some introductory verses. Jaitam Sartopangor Mama Mandar Matar Gati Matsarvasya Padamboja Radha Madana Mohano Divyad Vrindaranya Kalpadramada Shrimad Ratnagara Simhasanasto Shishi Radha Shila Govinda Devo Presthalibhi Sevya Mano Smarami Shriman Rasa Rasa Rambhi Vamsi Vata Tata Stita Karshan Venu Sunir Gopir Gopinata Shriyastunaha Narayanan Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayan, unto Nara Narayan Rishi, the supremest human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nastaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistaki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established and as an irrevocable fact. Shinvantam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hriday Antahastohi Abhadrani Vidhunoti Surit Satam. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, super soul, in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. And now we come to the verse, verse 41. Is there anybody who would like to read? I'll read the Sanskrit, and then if there's anybody else who would like to read the translation and the purport. Sarvavedasya yagnasya tapodanani chanagaha jiva bhaya pradhanasya na kurviran kalamapi. Anyone who would like to read the translation and purport?
I can do it, Mataji.
Okay.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. O spotless one, your answers to all these questions will grant immunity from all material miseries. Such charity is greater than all Vedic charities, sacrifices, penances, etc. Purport. The highest perfectional work of charity is to give people in general immunity from the anxieties of the material existence. This can be done only by performing activities in devotional service to the Lord. Such knowledge is uncomparable. Cultivation of the knowledge in the Vedas, performance of sacrifice, and distribution of munificent charities all together cannot form even a part of immunity from the pangs of material existence that is gained from devotional service. The charity of Maitreya not only will help Vidura, but due to its universal nature, will deliver all others in all times. Thus, Maitreya is immortal. Hare Krishna. Over to you.
Thank you very much.
Mataji, my internet is unstable, so I'm just switching the video off, but I'm here because when I leave the video on, I can't hear you properly.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. So, in the verse, Vidura Prabhu is telling Maitreya Rishi that your answers will grant immunity from all material miseries. And then says, greatest charity, greater than also Vedic charity. Now, he's used the word Vedic charity because Vedic charity means charity in the mode of goodness or according to the modes of one person that the person is in. So Vedic charity then primarily means that charity given at the right time, at the right place, to the right person, for the right reason, with the right attitude. So already he's not just talking about any charities, it's talking about Vedic charities. So already it's on a very high platform. So this charity, devotional service, he's saying is greater than even this charity. And then greater than sacrifices and penances, sacrifices and austerities. And then Srila Prabhupada says in the purport that the greatest perfectional work of charity is to give people immunity from anxieties of material existence. And what gives this immunity, an interesting word that Srila Prabhupada has used, immunity, you know. And what grants this immunity is devotional service. Like he says, this conversation for generations and generations to come is going to have an impact, very positive, very spiritual impact on people for generations and generations. And then here Vidura Prabhu mentions charity, sacrifice, and austerity. Now, Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita has practically dedicated a whole chapter to explaining these three. Does anybody know what chapter that is in the Bhagavad Gita? Where it explains charity, sacrifice, austerity, And in that chapter, he talks about food. So four main things: food, charity, sacrifice, and austerity. Does anybody have an idea what chapter this is in Bhagavad Gita? It's chapter 17, connected to the modes of material nature. So how is that Krishna has dedicated a whole chapter of only 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita? It's not like there are some 100 chapters where, okay, he's dedicated one chapter to austerity, sacrifice, charity. Because, does anybody have an idea? Would anybody like to share? Why do you think Krishna has dedicated a whole chapter to these topics, this topic, charity, austerity, and sacrifice? Any idea at all? Somebody? Anybody?
Anybody is nobody, but I can
Anybody?
I
Nobody.
can
Okay. Here you go.
I can
Yes,
attempt. I can
yes.
attempt.
Okay.
So all this charity, sacrifice, austerity, food, they have an influence. So let's take, for example, charity. So you have built a hospital, for example, a charitable trust and everything. So yes, you think you have done it in the mode of goodness, that you have done, so many people will benefit from this, and people will be happy, and you have done it. But you probably might have done it. I don't say everybody does it, but for your own fame, name, and have put the name of the hospital, Kirtika Patel Hospital. So I've done it for the name, fame,
Yeah.
for myself. So it is not for Krishna. So even if I have done I've given a big chunk of my wealth in charity, it is still for my own sense gratification, because it gives my ego a very huge boost.
Yes. Yes. Thank
So
you
it
very
is
much.
still not for Krishna. And the
Yeah.
same for sacrifice, same for austerity. So therefore, Krishna had to explain to us in a whole chapter about how to do these things.
Yes. Thank you very much. Yes. So in Vedic culture, like you know how we eat every day, so food is in that chapter. In Vedic culture, sacrifice, austerity, and charity were carried out every day, every single day. So now let's look at these words first of all. Sacrifice is activities that we do to connect, to link with the Lord. How I connect with the Lord through offerings. The offering of the holy name, the offering of reading, the offering of food, the offering of results of my work. This is sacrifice. In previous ages, like fire sacrifices, around that, okay? So this is the activities that I do to connect with the Lord is offer to a sacrifice. Austerity is simplification of life to enhance the sacrifices that I do and how I connect with Krishna through my conduct. That's austerity. Simplifying your life, not being attached to a certain standard of life, but rather progressively simplifying life. Charity is how I connect with Krishna in my service to others. So all of them done properly is yoga connection. It'll link you to Krishna. So because they were done daily, part of daily life, that is why Krishna dedicates a whole chapter and then explains them how to do it, at least in the mode of goodness. And then so that from mode of goodness, easy to come into pure goodness. You can't From ignorance and passion, there's no way you can jump to pure goodness, not possible. So at least he's encouraging, do all these things. These things were done daily. It was just part of daily life, but do it in the mode of goodness. Exactly as you said, the name fame. You enter any other temple, any other Hindu temple, and you're just, as soon as you enter, there's a whole board plate. So and so, Mr. So and so, Mr. So and so has donated this. For name, it is very interesting. Do you know that when Rajman Singh, yes, Rajman Singh built the Madan Mohan temple. Yes, Rajman Singh built the Madan Mohan temple in Vrindavan. Beautiful, beautiful. Even to this day, even though it was then broken by the Mughals and everything, it is still a spectacular structure. And one devotee went there and he said, for its time, this was a super spectacular structure. How come I don't see anywhere the mention of Rajman Singh? And then the pujari said, come, come, I'll show you. And then he took him around the temple and there was a gutter. And he said, can you bend down? And the devotee said, yeah. And he said, bend down right next to the gutter, right next to the gutter inside. Can you see a brick that has the name Rajman Singh? That is the correct attitude. They must have said, oh, we want to put your name. And said, yeah, put it on a brick next to the gutter. So, very interesting. Such a nice example of what humility means and charity in the mode of good. But there was this was charity in pure goodness because he built a temple for Radha Madan Mohan. So maybe it's important to reflect. And I emphasize this was daily activity. This is what people did daily. Sacrifice means sadhana. Even Sudras had a sadhana. And then they performed austerity, and then they gave charity. And then maybe it's a good time, after the class, just take a minute and reflect. What are the major parts of your daily life? Things have changed so much in Kali Yuga. Such a shame. Or at least I do these things sometimes, besides sadhana, of course. I'll give charity sometimes, and even that, I'll think about it a few times. Oh my God, Ata Boke, let me give half of this, or, and discuss with Gopal, and then, we do this sometimes, even that, so there has to be so much thought process in it. So it's just a nice thing to reflect, like how much of this do I do how much do I give in my daily life? Am I a giver or am I a taker? So just open up your just awareness. Awareness is a big thing. Today, it is known as the world of gains. I will do something, I will go somewhere, I will talk to someone as long as I have something to gain. This is nobody does anything if there's nothing to gain. Welcome to Kali Yuga. But if we just ask ourselves, how much are we uplifting the lives of others on a daily basis without any personal motive? Sometimes we're at the temple and there's an opportunity to serve prasad. What do? Do we just very quickly turn our heads and pretend we didn't even notice that opportunity? Or do we take up the opportunity? An opportunity comes up to sweep the floor, put away the mattresses. What do? Awareness, awareness, awareness. Sacrifice. Our sacrifice is chanting the holy names, reading, following the four regulative principles. So what is, okay, somehow we chant 16 rounds. Somehow we finish our, what is the quality? 16 rounds bare minimum, done, put your bead bag aside, phew, done. Or is there some taste, some element of desire, endeavor to connect with Krishna during japa? So it's a nice just way of just reflecting on your own, you know, this three: charity, sacrifice, and austerity. And then human life, I feel human life is synonymous to two words, is progression and giving. Progression. The whole of Bhagavad Gita, if you, is all about progression, you know. Okay, you're in a mode of ignorance, come to passion, come to goodness. Be progressive. Like Srila Prabhupada, do you know, in 22nd Avenue, when Brahmananda and these were just very new bhaktas, after giving class, they would all go out and smoke after Srila Prabhupada gave class. So one day Srila Prabhupada came out, he was going somewhere, and Brahmananda hid his cigarette behind him. And Srila Prabhupada stopped and he said, how many do you smoke a day? And Brahmananda gave a number. And then Srila Prabhupada said, smoke one less. And Srila Prabhupada walked away. But the power in Srila Prabhupada's words was so effective that Brahmananda Prabhu just gave up smoking altogether. But just see the level of acceptance of Srila Prabhupada and just be progressive. Just be progressive. What would we do if we saw somebody standing outside the temple and smoking? We'd be like, oh my God, da 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 da, you know, but Srila Prabhupada, so expert, you know, so expert. Anyway, so what are we doing to enhance these three things? Sacrifice, austerity, charity. How progressive are we? So these are all questions we can ask ourselves in our own time, you know. It says in the Bhagavatam, which is a common phrase, we say austerity is the wealth of a Brahmana. And Srila Prabhupada, we love using this phrase, you know, simple living, high thinking. But how much are we actually endeavoring to simplifying our lives? Uh, there's no progression if there's no simplification. That just, you know, that just goes hand in hand. Just goes hand in hand. If you want to advance spiritually, you have to simplify your life. And that is timeless because this is a bit austere. It is a bit austere, you know. And I can speak for myself. I used to live in England and then COVID happened. And my father was like, no, just move back to the farm. And I was like, oh, what? Farm. It was such a from a city life in UK to the simplification of farm life. It took me 1.5 years to adjust. Initially, I was miserable. I was just running to Nairobi any chance that I got, you know. But slowly, I just realized actually there was, with the simplification of life, so much time to read and chant and really dive deep and really look after my deities and stuff. And now I would absolutely hate to live in the city. Like only, I don't know, you know. So it's almost like simplification was forced onto me. It wasn't my choice, but it was like the best thing ever. Krishna just like this girl, this woman, she's not, you know, she's not going to make any progress in a city life. She has to move to the farm. And I'm just so glad. I'm so glad. Although initially it was like poison, you know, they say, but now honestly, it's just nectar. So simplification, paramount. It's pivotal. It's a pivot, you know, factor. Simplification. And it can be progressive. Just you don't have to take big, huge steps that you can then sustain. Just small baby steps. So charity. So so the nice example of austerity and simple life is Sudama. You know, even after Krishna gave him the palace that he did, Sudama, he never slept on luxurious beds. He slept on the floor in the courtyard. And he remained austere and detached and devotional. He slept on the floor in the courtyard. So what an amazing example of austerity. And we know, we hear occasionally, regularly, the level of austerity of the six Goswamis, you know, Raghunath Das Goswami. How austerely he lived in Jagannath Puri. He slowly stopped eating to a point where he was just eating the prasad that was, you know, the leftover prasad from washing the plates and stuff that was like going in the gutter that dried up, that even cows would not eat, is what Raghunath Das Goswami would eat. And then later in, I think in Vrindavan, he just survived on 1 glass of chas, buttermilk a day. Yeah. So we cannot imitate. We cannot imitate, but we can follow in the footsteps. We can pray to follow in the footsteps, to imbibe their mood. Because in Kali Yuga, impossible. But yet there is so much progress we can still make. In terms of sacrifice, say when Krishna used to wake up at the crack of dawn and he would meditate on himself and then perform sacrifices. And then every morning he would give charity. Every morning he would give cows to the brahmanas. So many examples given in Bhagavatam about so many personalities. The charity was given every day. How when Krishna was born, Vasudeva, although because he was in the prison, he couldn't, but mentally he donated so many cows to so many brahmanas. You know, back in the days, people woke up early and took a bath in rivers. And that in itself is the austerity of walking to a river so cold. Now we're used to hot showers and stuff. And even then, you know, we can't do it. And fasting was a very regular thing, regular routine, you know, it wasn't a big deal. Bali Maharaj fasted for a year when he was waiting for Durvasa Muni to come back. A year. And Maharaj Yudhishthira used to give charity on a daily basis. Horses, chariot, elephants, clothes, ornaments, gold, by the thousands. He didn't just do it on festival days or sometimes. This was his Nitya Seva, daily duty. Maharaj Parikshit. Charity was part of his Grihastha Dharma. Daily he gave charity to the needy. Lord Krishna, like I said, he rise early in the morning, give charity. And then there's a nice example of Maharaj Rantidev. He would give charity before every meal. He would not even eat without giving charity. And he never stored anything for the next day. Then we know the example of Bali Maharaj, charity, the whole pastime of Vamandev. And Bali Maharaj is described as one accustomed to giving daily charity. So it was like a permanent part of everybody's life. And then Narad Muni says the duties of a grihastha is that a householder should daily give charity according to his means. So and it's very, in this connection, if you have time, read chapter 17. It makes it very clear. And life was organized around and dictated by these three things mainly. Grihasthas were allowed, it's the only ashram out of the 4 ashram where they were allowed to generate wealth was the Grihastha ashram. But even that generation of wealth was only to then distribute it equally. It was never for a personal gain that I have sold this agricultural products and this money is mine. No, wealth was always distributed. So it is very interesting. And then obviously the main purport is Srila Prabhupada and the poet saying that the greatest, what is going to give immunity from this miserable world is devotional service. And what are the miseries of this devotional world is birth, death, old age, and disease. So to stop this, Srila Prabhupada says, stop birth, death, old age, and disease is the best charity that you can give to anyone. Give this knowledge. And as devotees, actually, this is why we exist here in cities. We really have no other business here, you know. Cities are such places of mode of passion and ignorance, actually, hardly any goodness. So we do our duty twofold, Swadharma and Paradharma. Swadharma is our material duties. We work, we maintain, we maintain. And Paradharma is our spiritual duty. We practice, we have a sadhana, we imbibe this knowledge, we put it into practice, and then we give it to others. And this is how Srila Prabhupada has practically set up this movement. We are a missionary movement. We are a preaching movement. This is Srila Prabhupada's mood and mission. And for us to succeed, and for us to please Srila Prabhupada and please Krishna, we have to adopt, we have to imbibe his mood and mission. Whatever is in your capacity. Chani is just a wonderful actor. And you know, what amazing preaching they're doing in Nairobi through this skill. You know, but also Srila Prabhupada emphasized deeply, gravely on book distribution. We all know that. And this December marathon is coming up. Do something. Go out. If you can't do it every day, do it after every few days. Do it once a month. Do it 4 times in December. If you can't do it twice, if you can't do once, go distribute 3, 4 books and you'll experience the bliss. Give this knowledge. Give this knowledge. We can't just take the knowledge and then like, okay, I'm going to perfect my life. We are not bhajan anandis. Our bhajan, our bhajan is to go and give this knowledge. Somehow bring people to Krishna consciousness. Then we're not only are we mitigating our own miseries, but we're helping mitigate other people's miseries. And believe you me, there's so much misery out there, so much misery. So again, reflection. After this class, just sit with yourself and then just think, okay, how can I increase any one of these things? Sacrifice, charity, or austerity? Or how can I make it better? Or these 3 things, what can I do to make it progressive? Because progressive is where the taste it, otherwise it becomes stale. Otherwise it becomes boring. Okay, so 42. Shri Sukha Uvacha Sa itam aprista purana kalpa kuru pradhanena muni pradhan pravridha harsha bhagavat kathayam sanjoditastam prahasan ivaha. Shri Sukadev Goswami said, thus the chief of the sages, who was always enthusiastic about describing topics regarding the personality of Godhead, began to narrate the descriptive explanation of the Puranas, being so infused by Vidura. He was very much enlivened by speaking of the transcendental activities of the Lord. Purport: great learned sages like Maitreya Muni are always very enthusiastic about describing the transcendental activities of the Lord. Maitreya Muni, being thus invited by Vidura to speak, appeared to be smiling because he actually felt transcendental bliss. So Vidura has asked lots and lots and lots of questions. And then, so just before this verse, Vidura asked Maitreya Muni to explain the Lord's different powers of specific divisions, about how Brahmaji established the various Manus, their descendants, the planets and their measurements, about the living beings, incarnations of material modes of nature, divisions of human society, births of sages. So many topics he asked about. Keep talking. And then he asks also about spiritual masters, the importance of the spiritual master. Pure devotees have mentioned the source of knowledge. How could they have this without the help of other devotees? So, all these questions he asked, not intellectually, but devotionally. Vidura asked not because he did not know it's not that he did not know these answers. Vidura was a senior devotee. He was highly knowledgeable. So he didn't ask because he did not know, but because he loved to hear about Krishna and wanted to keep himself and others absorbed in Krishna Katha. And for generations and generations and in generations to come. And what is interesting is that he had just been insulted very badly. The same government and cabinet that he served his whole life, very sincerely. And he was just insulted so badly by Duryodhan and Dhritarashtra. And he just walked out. You know, it was a major point. It was a great tragic event. It was a great calamity in his life. And what did he do? He walked out and he just walked to the forest and he sought association of sages and he just dived and surrounded himself by Krishna Katha. Now it is interesting when we are faced with tragedy or calamity or some mental disturbance, what do we do? What do we do? What do we take shelter of? So I was just going through my points with Gopal and just like, okay, it's this. And it's like, so, what do we take shelter of? And he goes, you take shelter of Netflix. I was like, how funny. I don't. But there was a time that I did. Even though I was chanting and reading, something happens, there's a fight in the family or da. Come home, just don't want to talk to anybody, just Netflix. So we all have our sources of what we take shelter of in difficult times. And we all know that, whatever it is. And that's fine. Just make it progressive. Just make it progressive. We can't be artificial about these things. So just make it more mode of goodness and then make it spiritual. So, and the best thing you can ever do is take shelter of devotees, senior devotees and Krishna Katha. Is there anything better? No. So try maybe next time. Don't go in with your problems, when we are in some kind of a problem, even if we go to the temple and meet devotees, what do we do? First half an hour we have to talk about our problems, which is fine, but go in, maybe next time just go in with fine problem, but go in with the intention to glorify the Lord and see what happens, and just see how actually your problems will dissipate, will diffuse. If you can take shelter of the holy name, or take shelter of Krishna Katha, or take shelter of genuine association, you will see what happens, how your issues just, even if it is momentarily, even if it is temporarily, but how your issues just diffuse. And then you just, is this a calling? Is this Krishna calling us to go deeper into our sadhana, deeper into our connection with Him? Because that's what He wants. Krishna takes our karmic cards, right? And He uses this card not to, not to, yes, teach us. Karma is there to teach us a lesson, to improve, and then, But Krishna, you will use the same karmic card on us. First, he'll reduce it intensely, and then he'll use it in us, only so that we can turn to him. That's the only reason. And once through that suffering we can turn to him, that he'll throw away that karmic card, because we've learned our lesson and we've turned to him, and that's all he wants. And that's all he wants. So no matter how difficult it is during difficult times, just try and turn to Krishna. Try and do a Krishna conscious activity that resonates with you, whatever you like, you know. And yeah, it's just absolutely wonderful. In these moments and every day, if we can try and be, the whole idea of the spiritual activities is to take us from material nature into spiritual nature. And what is this material nature? What is it that is keeping us bound in this material world? Is the modes of material nature. As soon as we come to this material world, we're conditioned by the modes. We're conditioned by the modes. We're governed by the modes. We're influenced over by the modes. Srila Prabhupada also uses this word that we are like under the spell of the material modes. We're completely controlled by the modes. And so this is how material nature keeps us in the material world, through the modes of material nature. So when we associate with Krishna, one way or another, through his holy name, through katha, through devotees, then immediately what we're doing is we're picking ourselves up from the material modes and placing us in pure goodness, because we're associating with Krishna, who is transcendental, who is pure goodness. So it's just like a spark of fire. Separated, it will just extinguish completely. It has no separate existence. Put back in the fire, it will glow. So as soon as we attach ourselves to Krishna, we are not under the purview of the modes of material nature. We are in pure goodness. And we are detaching. And therefore, the material nature has no power over us at that point. And this is the whole idea. This is the whole idea. So, yes. And then there's some wonderful verses. Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto. First canto, second chapter. Shinvatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana. Hriday Antastohi Abhadrani Vidunoti Surit Satam. Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, Supersoul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses the desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. So, just by desiring to hear about Krishna, you haven't even actually done the act, but just by having that desire in your heart, and Krishna is already cleansing our material desires. So this devotional service, hearing, Machita Madgata Prana Bodhayanta Parasparam Katayantascha Nityam Tushyanti Cha Ramanti Cha. The thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. The lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me, talking about Krishna as a person, conversing. We converse about someone, because that person is a person. So Krishna is a person. So yeah, back to this in relation to this verse, the importance of Krishna Katha, of hearing, of coming together, like Vidura taking shelter of Maitreya Rishi, and just encouraging, asking all these questions, just encouraging him to keep the Katha, this conversing about Krishna, keep it going. Because no, it's not only is it going to benefit me and you, it's going to benefit millions and billions of people. Then just one last verse. It's 2:37. Those who drink through oral reception, fully filled with the nectarian messages of Lord Krishna, the beloved of the devotees, purify the polluted aim of life known as material enjoyment, and thus go back to Godhead, to the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead. So immediately, see, this is that immediately picking ourselves up from material moods to transcendental. And then we go back to Godhead. So I'll stop here. If there are any questions, any comments, any corrections, please. Anything you'd like to add to the class?
Thank you very much, Mataji, for this nectarian class. And I really loved it because it was very practical. I mean, we hear, okay, you should perform charity, sacrifice, austerities, but you really showed us in our own lives how we can make, how little by little, a small step at a time, progressively, we can do. And I liked it that you're not judging us. Oh, you don't do this, oh, these are the standards, oh, this is it, but you are just being compassionate and taking us through, okay, if you can't do this, then just do this, then if you can't do this, then, and eventually it will come. We are not like pure devotees like probably Brahmananda Maharaj, that Prabhupada said, drink one, smoke one less, and he just gave up. But yeah, so we all know we should take time to introspect and see what our habits are. And I really like the example when you said, I discussed it with Gopal, what do I do? And you were forthcoming and you had no inhibitions in saying that, okay, I went to Netflix to get my stress out. And and not say, oh, I went to Krishna and Krishna looked after me. So thank you for being so real. And these kind of examples help us in our spiritual journey.
Thank you.
And
Interesting what Krishna has done. We just have no Wi-Fi anymore in the house. And we decided just not to even try, and because the next thing would be try Starlink, and we're like, it's okay. So I think also for 3 months, Netflix hasn't been there. So Krishna is just like forced, like it's just amazing. It's like, okay, first, Tuchana, okay, you come to the farm. Then now let's take the Wi-Fi away. So
yeah, he's purifying us.
yeah,
He's
definitely.
purifying you. Yeah.
Yes.
And in the initially you had mentioned how we keep this class going, and it's not me at all. It is all the seva of all the great Vaishnavas on this group who keep the service going on. And today I was remembering, as you were taking us through the class, we had one Pramila Mataji, who was a part of, very diligent, and she would summarize the session at the end, a bit like what Eastern Prabhu does every day for us. And She listened to the Bhagavad Gita, and she was diligent, and every day she used to be there. And she was a normal person like us. And then she became sick, but she never left the group. She still kept on coming. She couldn't speak, so she didn't offer that service of um, ending the session. And listening to our class one day, she just passed on.
Oh, really?
So her family told us later on that this was something she looked forward to every day. And she was listening to the Srimad Bhagavatam. First, we started with Bhagavad Gita, so she was listening to Bhagavad Gita, and then we started the Srimad Bhagavatam. And because of this, then during the day, when she had lung cancer, it just came up, and it was just after COVID. And she didn't know about it, and she gradually became worse and worse. And you know how in England the investigations take so long. So to get to that diagnosis, it took a long time. So it is like pure Vaishnavas on this group that really motivates us. So today I would really like to dedicate my gratefulness to all the people who join the group every day diligently, and then if they're not able to join, they then listen to it at the recording. So I'm really grateful, and that keeps us going. That keeps us going. So thank you very much, Mataji. It's a collective effort. It's the mentor like you who always are so diligent, and it's also the audience, the ones who listen to it. So Hare Krishna.
That's just amazing. Yeah, I was wondering at some point, she doesn't come anymore, so I had no idea. Wow, amazing. Thank you for sharing that.
She passed on 2 years ago, but I was just remembering, I'm sure she's looking at us right now from wherever
Yeah.
she is. So I just remembered her during the class. So I thought I'll share that.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Anything to add or comments? Any comments? Any comments? Any questions? Okay, if there are no questions or comments, can I request Eastern Prabhu, are you able to do your seva today? Hare Krishna. He has network challenges. I'm sure he'll come back, but
Okay.
wait for him for a minute. Okay, he's not able to do it or enter again. Anybody else would like to end the session today? Hare Krishna. Oh, Hare Krishna, Pregoin Prabhu.
Hare Krishna,
Thank you very much for joining. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Good to take Mataji's darshan, Hari Hari, and station. My room is not well lit, so you can't see me nicely. But at least you can see your VP.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow,
So beautiful. So beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for
So we are so
joining us.
grateful, Mataji. Hare Krishna. First, I begin with greetings to everyone. Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
So you gave a very wonderful class, and actually it was more of practical, You dealt with things that we are going through every day and how we take shelter in different things, when we are mostly upset. Wow, that was very touching, actually,. Even to me. So sometimes we take refuge to other things. So if only we can understand the potency of the holy name and always take shelter of it all the time. It's a very wonderful thing. And actually, this week we are on Wednesday, we were discussing with the students about the three modes of nature, and we are speaking about the environment one lives in also affects him big time, because different environments also are affected also by the three modes of nature. And you talked about living in a city whereby one becomes disturbed, then stressed because of the environment itself. So the environment we live in also has some influence of our consciousness. And for us, for example, who are fortunate enough to stay in the temple premises and getting daily association with devotees and worshiping the deity, so at least we should, so that at least always we can have the opportunity and time to always remember Krishna, because the cardinal will always remember Krishna, never forget him. So it's very, very important. And satsang like this one, where all devotees are coming together and at least discussing about Krishna, that is the most important thing. And you can see when Bhagavatam also stresses about, you can see about this pastime which is going on, Maitreya Muni, always discussing the topics of Krishna. He's always discussing all these topics of Krishna. And there's so many inquiries that are there. You can see Bhagavatam is a book of dialogue, always asking questions. So in such a sangha, such sangha, they're very important because we're inquiring us, then we tend to learn. That's how one gains knowledge. You know, knowledge is gotten only when we make some inquiries. We ask some questions, then we can get perfect answers. So it was very, very inspiring. I'm very unfortunate that we have such a forum and I don't get opportunity to attend. I'm actually going to try my level best at least once in a while I'll be attending. Thank you so much everyone for attending. Is there something you can say? Someone who can say something before I conclude? So we can stop there and
Very much, Priya
we
Govinda.
can.
Thank you very much. That was wonderful. It's all nothing needs this the mercy of my Guru Maharaj, the devotees. Like I don't even deserve to be speaking, you know. But thank you so much, and really nice to just connect with you also.
Thank you. Thank you so much. By the way, we are looking forward also in future also, apart from Bhagavatam, I saw you are giving very nice course on Bhagavad Gita. So I was requesting how Eldoret Yatra can benefit also from that course on Bhagavad Gita.
Yes, yes. We can talk
We
about
can plan for that.
yes, yes. Thank you so
Yes.
much.
Okay, yeah, sure. So we can conclude by offering our obeisances to devotees. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo
Namo Namaha.
Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrindaki
Jai,
Eda Prabhupada Ki
Jai,
Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai.
Jai.
Her Grace
Ashwariya, Lila
Ashwariya
Mataji.
Mataji Ki Jai.
Jai.
Nitai Gaura Hari Premanande.
Hari Bol.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you
Hare
so much.
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama.
Hare.
Hari
Hare.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you,
Hare
Priya
Krishna.
Govinda, for ending the session. Please join our group every day if you can. Your pearls of wisdom will really benefit us. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.